Hello, everybody. Thank you again for being here. This is Overtop Podcast. I am Nick Lourenco, and I'm your host. Today, I have the pleasure to bring with you guys a very incredible band. They are the Manic Boys and Girls Club. It's a band based in Toronto. I'll be talking with Bela and Fernando Ferreira, two siblings that have this pop rock band. Let's bring them. And how are you guys doing today?
Very good.
How are you?
Not as good as you guys. No, actually, I'm doing better than you because you guys have a storm going on there, right?
We're in a blizzard right now. We're in a snowstorm.
Oh, man, Toronto. Hey, I want to thank you guys. Even with the weather conditions, you guys are here. I really appreciate the effort. We have been trying to agree on this. Finally made it, and we are here. So, guys, my first question is, where did it come the idea to start singing? You know, you guys being siblings, where did this idea came from?
I think Today and the Blizzard is a great example of why we got involved in music as kids. We grew up in Toronto. We spent a lot of time in Portugal every year, but most of the winters were here, unfortunately. And it's just the type of climate when you have immigrant parents that are just working all the time. After school, you come home and you wind up planting yourself in front of the TV for hours. And I think we all realized that probably wasn't healthy, so we just started studying music. It was what we were obsessed with. We were absolutely obsessed with music videos. And yeah, at some point our mom said, okay, you guys have to do something after school because it's just long winters and you spend way too much time indoors and not being productive. So we started playing music. That's it.
No, this is the first time that I hear that the heavy Toronto winter is good for something. That's good to hear. Because usually it's so cold there, it's so that. I'm glad for you guys just worked fine. However, Bella, you actually both of you got some formal education with instruments. I believe you learned the piano for 11 years. And Fernando, what did you study? Which instrument?
I studied classical guitar, so my main instrument was guitar.
Classical guitar. So, okay, even though you might not, because what I understand that you guys didn't have, formal training as a singing, but you guys had a formal training, with the instrument. So it was a kind of a seamless process when you guys decided to put a band. But before you guys got there, the question for me is, you guys are originally from Portugal. We're talking about fado and those kind of styles. I know you grew up there. Why pop rock? Does it has to do, because when I listen to your music, guys, it's kind of a little bit rebellious and stuff like that, Does it has to do with your street upbringing, being raised by, by Catholic parents? Tell us a little bit about that.
I think I probably felt it more than Fernando. Being raised in a strict family as the only daughter is anyone out there, especially of Portuguese descent, will probably understand what I mean. So I think it's my form of rebellion is through the music. Even being in a band, I think that one of the reasons why our parents are okay with it is because my brother is in the band with me. That's my form of rebellion, I think, is pursuing this to this extent, as opposed to following the path that, maybe was more expected of us because we don't come from musical parents at all. Fernando?
Yeah, I think it's probably just like our surroundings, right? We're influenced by everything around us. And I think it was, the music is just like a combination of both of our inputs and points of views on things and influences from whatever music that we kind of like listen to and, we're raised on.
Okay. It's interesting that what you said, Bella. So, yeah, you guys are grown adults, but you mentioned something interesting. You say, well, probably this is why our parents were okay, because Fernando was in the band. Kind of, it's, the conservative approach, if you will. Your brother kind of, tell me if I'm reading this wrong. Your brother will protect you in that environment. Is that what I'm getting here?
A little bit. And beyond that, I mean, we've always been, very close. Obviously, there's times that we clash with different opinions in the band, but basically the underlying thread is that I think he respects me. I like to think I definitely respect him and his opinion. So we trust each other so much with the artistry and in every aspect. So I think it's also just very organic to work on a project that we're both so passionate about and work on it together.
And sometimes like protects me while we're traveling.
That's true.
I know. She has muscles.
Keep me out of trouble.
No, just kidding. No, but it's
right. So Fernando's been street home among me and a couple of strangers because I tend to keep my head on straight, right?
Yeah, but I want to be clear. Women are as strong as men. It's just we just have these taboos. We just see the other way around. But I was just kidding. But one thing interesting about you guys are siblings, usually, when we are growing up with your siblings, I have 6 other siblings, we grew up together in a small place and go to a point to say, you know what, I'm going to go my way. I'm done. I don't want to deal with that. We love each other still, but let's go our separate ways, just meet, when there is a holiday, whatever. But you guys are almost every day together. How does it work? And how one affects the other, how your musical life affect your personal life, because at the end of the day, you still have to see each other in, functions, with family. How does this work?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think we kind of know we're together enough that we know to separate the two.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anything's personal. Like we could be, we have bad nights or things that we don't like about the other's performance or whatever on the night. Like it's fine. It doesn't pass that. I don't think. And if it does, it might go to the next day, and then we're done. After one sleep, it kind of like gets expired.
I think when you're in a project, you're like, when it's something like this where you're not running a convenience store together, it's something that's from your heart. Like it's your heart and soul is music and trying to create music, and your intent, like there's no ego involved. So even if we were to disagree on something, like at the end of the day, we know that each other, like the other just wants what's best for the project. It's nothing about like, I want to get the last word on this, or he wants to get his lyric in, not mine. Like it's not like that. So I think, you could get frustrated at times, but we both know what our goal is, and we're very in harmony. No pun intended.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's our opinion. Our vocals not always.
Our vocals are definitely not in harmony.
No, they are. I can attest to that. You guys have very good music. They are.
A lot.
Speaking about this, you mentioned once, Fernando, that you guys, the way your relationship works in the music is you guys don't sugarcoat. Someone brings some music and you ask if your opinion, say you don't go, maybe it's good. So no, this crap doesn't work. And that's the type of working relationship you guys have. Is that accurate?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it has to be. Yeah, I have zero patience for tiptoeing around, how to be polite.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's like,
you guys don't care about hurting each other's feeling, man. You guys are good.
No, you leave the ego at the door. It's not. Yeah,
I believe too. That's the best way, because you're looking for, I don't know, excellence, quality, and that's the way to approach that. You don't want to put a song out there that is mediocre, and you say, well, why didn't you tell me anything? I'm your brother, your sister, and well, that's make a lot of sense. But you guys started during the pandemic, if I'm not mistaken, as a band in the 2020, right?
Yeah.
Was it the pandemic, or just things happen organically that you guys thought, this is the time to put this together and, see what happened? Tell me a little bit about that.
So we kind of start, like when we were like little kids, like my sister was talking, like we kind of started by playing together because, you're little kids in your family's living room or whatever. So we started, and then it's just, all through kind of like growing up and like, in school, we kind of did our own thing and didn't, kind of like when you're saying we don't get along with your siblings, whatever, right? You kind of just like do your own thing. And we started writing songs. We always kind of wrote music together, even when we were doing our own thing. Like I would like have our own kind of musical project idea or whatever. And I played with my brother a lot, who was also a musician. He's a drummer. So I'd be closer to my brother, but we always bounced our ideas off each other. So we were always like interconnected, right? And then we started writing some songs around 2020, and it kind of turned into the band. We had the songs before
A band.
becoming a band or a band name.
Yeah.
We had songs written and we decided to record them. And then our first show was in New York City. So I went to New York and we played a show together as this new thing that we were doing. So it's just like a duo. And we've played shows, two of us, but not acoustic, like just like ambient kind of shows where we play everything. And then we'll play as a full 5-piece band, so we kind of do everything in between, so I don't think it answers your question, but we've kind of been playing together since we were children. It didn't really, the idea wasn't born during the pandemic. It just kind of, this version of it happened around 2020.
Okay, that kind of was a good moment to start too. But that made me ask a question. So, you guys were here already in the States, in New York. Are you guys planning another tour in the near future here in the US? I mean, are
Yes.
there plans for that? And who do you guys work with to accomplish that?
We do everything ourselves, believe it or not.
So
We have, we're on the
Oh.
plan that's called the no plan because everything in my life that I've tried to plan, like I thought my life was going to look completely different than this. So, crazy things happen when we don't actually plan. We just, yeah. So we are hoping
Well,
to get it
But
soon.
the way you guys going, because I do know that I believe last year, you guys are a very new band per se. You're on the market for the last 4 years, and you guys already had an international tour to Portugal, right?
yes.
So so I see that coming, a big tour coming to the US. If I can hook you guys up with some people that make things happen, it's not my space, but absolutely I'll put you guys in touch. I know someone that do that over there in Toronto. You guys probably know him. He also has some contacts here, but I don't know if he works with pop rock band or jazz, Afrobeat and stuff like that. But, it would be great, to see you guys here in a bigger stage. If it's not this year, you guys will get there for sure. And if I can provide some contacts, absolutely, absolutely. I am not a pop rock, fan, but there is something about your band that I like. I was talking with my girlfriend the other day. I said, well, you don't like this stuff. I say, well, I don't like, but I don't know. There's something about them. They're cool or something. I don't know. And then when I thought, oh, they're Portuguese, I said, maybe I can interview them in Portuguese. But then I think, wait, their market is the English market. Let's just do this in English. It's much better. But yeah, but
You?
speaking about this, you guys, on your short, term of in the market, you have won a couple of awards. One is at the Palooza Music Festival, Band of the Year, and also at the Portugal International Music Awards. You guys won another award. I always ask that to my guests. What does this type of awards? How does it affect you as a person, individually, both of you, and as a band?
It makes it like it goes right to our heads. We suddenly we leave all our friends. We're like, we're too good for you.
You're good. This interview is
Yeah.
gonna go for a while. Go ahead.
No, it's just, I think there's, me personally, I feel a little of imposter syndrome a lot of the time where I'm just like, they like us? Really? Oh, okay, let's keep going. But of course, it's a huge, huge honor. I am so grateful for every little step, every tiny little win, and every tiny little success is just, it means so much that people are relating to the music. You have no idea. Because these are just very songs that we write together in our studio under the city streets. We're in a basement. And you kind of never it never goes beyond that in your head. You're just like, let's make the best song.
Well, you write a song, you don't know if it's going to get heard.
Yeah.
And then if it gets heard, you don't know if it's gonna be liked. And then to be appreciated by something like the International Portuguese Music Awards is massive, right?
It's crazy.
It's pretty.
Yeah, it's interesting, because you hope for it, you dream for it, you say, I want to really to accomplish that. But then that happens, so, whoa, really? It's happened? But
Absolutely.
that's the way it goes sometimes that way. But I'm gonna challenge you, Bella, because imposter syndrome the first time, but the second time, there is something there, right?
Yeah.
The first award you guys could have said, oh, really? But the second time, say, oh yeah, that's true. We are doing that. We are that good, right?
We're so good. Yeah. No,
Absolutely.
well, I think it's something that probably will never go away, but I'm completely just grateful for everything. Yeah.
One time, I believe it was you, Bella, that you were asked, who would you like to do a with, a collaboration with, dead or alive? And you said Michael Jackson because he's alive.
I
What's
think
that
he's
about?
alive. Just a
We
conspiracy.
want to know about that. Please explain.
Okay, so if you go, I'm not typically a strong conspiracy theorist, but the math is mathing. If you go to YouTube and you kind of go down that rabbit hole where you start to look at this like funny looking man that was at the wake that nobody really knows and he has his hat low, like do the research. I'm going to leave it with you. 20 minutes online researching this. I think you'll be on my side with this. There's a good chance we'll be doing
There's a tall, like thin person walking out of the ambulance when it gets into the hospital. I don't know how they let that one slide.
And as well, he went east for a few months before his death, and there was no reason for him to. And so there's the theory that he was plotting his, after the death, he was going to go to the Middle East, live like a king, and everyone knows when you die, you get so many more streams.
I think there's a recorded telephone call with his attorney. This is getting way off topic.
No, but
Yeah, because you know what? I don't know if I go deep into I don't know how would I feel if it's true, man. I don't know. I'm already used that he's no longer with us.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. But
his daughter, sorry, are you finished?
I was just saying, I think his lawyer said, you want to get out of debt, fake your own death.
Exactly. And his daughter,
man.
Yeah.
If you want to get out of financial debt, you fake your own death.
Nando, don't give me ideas and don't give ideas to the audience, please, guys. Please.
Listeners are a little crazy over this. We're going to get real hard.
Yeah, because my credit is questionable. I don't want to get those ideas. But my other question for you guys, I want to talk a little bit about, you guys already have the EP on the market, and one of the songs that is very talked about is Sorry. Right? Sorry. So it's a good song. I was listening. I listened a couple of times, like 2 months ago when we were trying to have the interview. I like it, the way it goes. It's go really low, kind of sad, and they can ramp up. It says a little bit about how you guys define your music, which is the message you wanna put out there is hope, right? I want you guys to tell me about why do you guys choose hope as kind of a theme for your band, for your songs?
I don't think it's thought out. I think hope is the reason why we get up out of bed in the morning. Like, I don't think any of us can say that we're where we want to be for life. So it's just, you get up thinking, okay, today's a new chance. A lot of people didn't make it through the night. We made it. Here's another day. Let's reach for our goals another day. So I think it's just a universal, I would like to think it's something universal that everyone can relate to, just keeps us going, because sometimes things get pretty dark. But if you have hope for a better day, you're going to keep going. I don't think it was anything thought out. It just, when we start writing, coming from like the mindset of being an indie band where it's like, you dream of playing a stadium or whatever. And the songs are kind of born with that hope of like, who knows, maybe one day the world will sing along. So I think just organically, like the songs trickled into that world of hope. I don't think it was something like, we didn't have like a board meeting where we're like, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make everything about hope. It just kind of happened that way. I think we're just hopeful by nature. So.
Fernando said once that you guys your creative process is kind of, unique. Because a band usually, you guys have the song, you go to the studio and whatever. But I heard that you said in an interview, you guys, you write the song or you create, separately, and then you guys come together. That's the way it works. Tell me a little bit about your creative process and that specific aspect.
So we usually, and I don't know how I worded it, if I've talked about this before, but how it usually goes is we usually come in with ideas we have on our own, like independent little ideas we have in our phones or on our laptops or however we do it. And then we kind of like show each other and kind of build there. And whichever one kind of like vibes with both of us, that's kind of what ends up being developed. And then the other thing that's interesting is we go many times into the studio with music unfinished, which like it's a total gamble because you don't know how it's going to end. But there's an excitement I think that's created when you do that. And that excitement, that improvisation is what I think a lot of music doesn't have today. Everything's, you go, oh, it's perfect from the end to end because everything is just like everyone's safety net is up and everything is pretty set to go smoothly. You know what I mean? There's no chance of error. There's no improvisation. There's no, what is that musician doing? What is this guy doing? There's no really like on the spot interactions. So when we go in the studio, a lot of it is not totally scripted yet. And sometimes it works. Sometimes the song is like, oh man, this sucked. We could burn a night in the studio and not come out with anything we love. So we go back and keep working at home and go back to it. And then sometimes it's just like magic, just a combination of things just click and you end up with something magical because you're inspired by that moment in that room with whatever's going on in that moment, you know? So, and that's sort of magic and pressure and improvisation is kind of like what's exciting about music, you know?
At the end, I would think there is more satisfaction if you get to that moment and say, well, that's it. There's more satisfaction, you know, because you didn't really expect, but at the end, wow, look at this. We made it, right? Am I wrong?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I remember being in the studio with David and like a song that wasn't even a song yet ended up favorite.
Yeah.
Of like a bunch of songs we recorded. It was like the last few hours of being in the studio recording. We kind of like put this thing together and it ended up being great, you know?
It's nice. And tell me, you guys have a bunch of songs that have, you know, tons of downloads, you know. I'm looking, your last stream has, you know, over, the last time I checked, over 2,000, Will Be Fine, over 16,000, Blackout, you know, almost 100, if not there. Sorry. So which of the songs you guys really feel like that is the song if we had to pick one out of this EP?
Mine changes on the daily. I don't know. I don't know how many
Okay.
kids. I imagine it's like having several kids and you don't know which one you love more. In our family, everyone loves Fernando more, but that's different. It's
Oh,
just
okay. Let me talk to him then.
the
So he's the
Fernando,
favorite one? Oh, okay. You know what?
I
That reminds me something you said some time ago, Bella, that the first song you wrote at 7 years of age, I believe, called
yes.
Confusion, because you didn't know what.
Oh my God.
I was just gonna say you probably don't know what it's called. It's called Confusion. I still remember it. I will not sing it,
Yeah,
though.
I think Fernando had to do something with you writing that. You were not that confused. You know what it was about, huh?
I'll hear it.
That's
No,
crazy.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you. I was asking you your favorite one.
Oh,
That's I can't believe you know that. That's there are very few
Hey,
people on this that know that song exists.
I do know. I found it buried, you know, buried dead. You know where? Yeah, it was there.
But you didn't find the footage on Michael Jackson in the Middle East like last week?
You know, no, that is different because probably, I mean, if that's true, there is a lot of people protecting this from coming out, so it's very hard, you know.
Daniel,
But you know, you guys just gave me something to.
some
I gotta bring
Homework.
someone to talk about this, some specialist or whatever to talk about this. Yes, there you go. Michael Jackson alive. Do you imagine the kind of problem that it would cause? I mean,
The contour that it would be?
no, we better leave him dead. Bella, you were saying about the song you like the most.
I don't know. I change it all the time.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you. They're all so special in different ways. They're all, you know, I don't really have a favorite. I get you get too close to them and then you don't really, it's hard to even listen to them sometimes. Just like,
They're that good that I can't listen to them. No, it's also like the mood you're in. Like when I'm driving, I love listening to Lose My Mind when I'm driving. If I'm just like trying to chill, I love Sorry. Going out with my friends, I kind of do my makeup to Blacked Out. It really depends. Yeah.
For me, on your music, for me, it doesn't change week by week like you, Bella. For me, it's Sorry. Yeah. For me, it's Sorry because of course, I found out about you guys, a few months ago. And then, when I said I want to interview this guy, so I'm going, doing some investigation. And sorry, I don't know, it spoke to me in many ways, mostly as a father, because in the recent past, I made some bad decisions. And when I was listening, I almost I felt like kind of a little bit of emotional until the music ramp up a little bit. Okay, yeah, but we can do it better or something like that. Make things right. Really, that's the song. And I just, I probably could just talk about this, the whole interview, but that's something really that I like it. That's the song for me on that EP. Sorry is the song. So I'm not going to change until you guys bring another one. Tell me, guys, what can we expect from you guys as a band this year and, the next few years?
So we just got asked to perform at the International Portuguese Music Awards. So we won an award here.
Congrats.
And we did. Thank you so much. We did not expect this at all, but they contacted us and said, you won this award and we'd like to have you back as performers. So they gave us the opportunity to perform 2 songs. We are planning a very special performance with that. It's going to air. So we shoot it. I guess the awards happen in April, but it airs all over a bunch of countries months later. We also
RTP International.
Yeah.
The RTP kind of franchise of that channel, RTP International, RTP1 in Portugal, RTP Africa, RTP, all the RTPs of, all countries of Portuguese language being spoken air this award ceremony.
They're bigger than I thought.
Here in the summer, it airs.
Yeah. And then
that's great. That's good to know.
Some festivals we're playing in the summer. We're playing a pretty special horseshoe show in Toronto. The Horseshoe is a legendary venue here with just a ton of history. And so we got asked to perform there on April 25th, which is also Portugal's Independence Day. So that works out very cool for those who know. So April 25th, we're playing a showcase in Toronto, and then just a series of shows that we are booking in America. We just put out a
few U.S. dates.
Yeah.
And we're looking to build on that to extend our U.S. stay.
Anywhere close, New Mexico? Come on, guys.
Not at the moment.
At the moment, yeah.
We could work on for sure.
Any bands or agents or other musicians listening, let's talk. They could reach out to us. We've got some East Coast shows and we could make our way west.
Yep.
Absolutely. The word is out there now. One question, I don't wanna let it go. So how important is for you guys the Portuguese market? And I asked that, if you guys were singing in Portuguese, well, of course, we sing in Portuguese, but you guys sing in English. How important is that market for you guys?
I think it's a passion.
Yeah, it's just a personal thing.
Yeah.
Portugal is a pretty small country to play. It's not the easiest to get to. It's not the, biggest market, but it's like a personal kind of connection we have to it.
Yeah, it feeds our soul.
Great fans there. You have great, just the people we've met touring that country has been magical. We have people that we still are in contact with just from the short time we've been there performing.
Nice. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Bela, Fernando Ferreira from the Manic Boys and Girls Club. These guys are great. Go check them out. Guys, thank you very much. I really hope we can talk again, sometime soon, either, in person or still the same way. This was great. I had fun with this interview.
Amazing.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your time. Thank you.
It was a pleasure.